Hey everybody, welcome to One Up to Nerd. My name is Frankie.
And I'm Kevin.
And you're watching our show. Make sure to like, subscribe, and have your notifications on so you know when we post awesome stuff.
Do we say thanks?
Thanks.
Thank you. So we're on episode 3. We just finished up with episode 3.
Well, yeah,
right?
we finished
and
3, going into 4
3
this
more
weekend.
left, and episode 3 was the conclusion of the Battle of Winterfell, right?
Yeah.
And, you know, we're going to go into spoilers at this point, I think, just so we can talk about it. So
this
if you
episode
haven't seen
is not spoiler-free. This episode, we're going to talk literally about
Spoilers
every
the whole
little
time.
thing. Okay, so if you
Spoiler alert.
if you haven't seen Game of Thrones,
we need some sound effects to be like,
I might be able to.
you can add them.
Well, I can do that.
Yeah, you should add it. And
I'll
then
do
we'll
that.
say that. Or do it at the end of us talking about it.
We'll do something.
Beep, beep, beep. Do your
We'll
thing.
have-
Do your thing.
we have
Do
some
your thing.
outtakes.
Do your thing.
Anyways, so Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
Okay, let's just.
So I personally saw Endgame and Game of Thrones back to back. So I saw Game of Thrones
that's
first,
crazy.
and then I saw Endgame. But you saw Endgame.
I was
first.
late on all of it. I didn't watch the Battle of Winterfell on that Sunday. I watched it on Monday, and then Tuesday, I think, or Tuesday.
Yeah,
Maybe?
Tuesday.
Saw Endgame.
No, you saw Endgame first. I thought. Yeah, I'm
no,
pretty sure you saw
I
Endgame
didn't.
first.
I don't remember.
Yeah,
now.
you did.
I don't remember.
Okay. Well, anyway, so like my point with that was after watching Game of Thrones, I was really sort of tired. It was a very heavy and emotional episode with like a lot of unknown parts of how it was going to play out. Right, like we've been waiting for this moment since the very beginning of episode 1. Winter is coming, right? Winter got here.
Yeah,
in a
winter's,
big way.
Winter's coming. That we saw that to fruition. But have we been waiting more for the battle with the undead, or more for sort of Daenerys versus Cersei now? Because
I haven't been waiting for that at all.
Well,
we didn't know what was going to happen.
Well, you may not have been waiting for it, but that's how the show is finishing.
Well, I know
wrapping.
that's how it's
so
finishing.
It's kind of like, seems like they didn't put as much weight into the Battle of Winterfell.
Well, that's what I'm really excited for the next episode, because there's a couple shots in the teaser that are my feeling. So the ship captain, I forget his name, the one that Cersei is with right now.
Oh yeah.
There's a moment in the teaser where he's like looking up into the sky, but not too high. And
he's surprised.
And he's very surprised. So my theory, and I haven't read anything, is that Dany found dragon armor. And so the dragon has armor and is going to be impervious to whatever they shoot at him.
Oh, I got goosebumps on that one. That's a really good idea.
Because there's also a moment where Dany's shown in her castle, sort of over, like the dragon is there on the side of the shot, and then she's sort of walking past it, and seems to have, I don't know, like a different air about her. And I'm thinking at the end of that shot, or like sometime in the episode, they're going to find dragon armor in the castle.
They'll find dragon armor.
Yeah. Because they weren't looking, when they were there before, they weren't really looking around. Like they were looking for the dragon glass, which was in the cave. And that was like their main focus.
We would presume that at one point the Targaryens put armor on their dragons.
Why
right?
wouldn't they have?
Why wouldn't
right?
they?
Like,
well, I don't know.
Cersei can't be the first to come up with bow and arrows.
They were, marrying and having kids with their cousins. So I mean, I don't know. They could have.
Anything goes.
They could have not had dragon armor, but it does seem obvious from that standpoint. But
yeah.
I mean, I definitely recognized his facial expression and thought that was definitely something surprising.
And it was subtle. And that's why, like, it was so genius to me. If it is an indication of something else, is like it was a very subtle like change in the way that he just sort of holds himself.
Yeah,
I don't think I've seen that look on his face.
Yeah, no, that was definitely a sort of like a
uncharacteristic
of his character for sure. If we're going to talk a little bit about the Battle of Winterfell, though, for me, they set up a lot of characters to where you kind of thought at least some of these C characters were going to die, right? For me, my big call, not big call, but
did you really though?
I thought Brienne was going to die 100%. I was like, there's no way Brienne doesn't die, because when she gets knighted at the end of season 2, I'm like, her story's done. There's no point in her continuing on in the show now that she's knighted. That was like her biggest accomplishment. Her hooking up with Jamie is like so whatever. And if anything, I'm like, fuck you, Jamie, because he's just gonna go off to Cersei now. Like,
well, you didn't know that when it happened. Like, no, but the indication they gave was that Jamie was really in love with her and like, you know, felt for her. And I think he did.
I think Jamie does,
but it wasn't clear that he wasn't as in love as he was with his sister. And that's
right.
like that. So Brienne had to live through that in order for that to be a bigger moment, right? Because that is more the shocker in that story is not that Brienne got knighted, which is kind of a cool like farewell thing, cool. But it was that Jamie did that because he loved her and then left and is going back to his sister.
Right. Well, I mean, that is the end of Jamie's story. But for me, when she got knighted, that was like her story came full circle for me. That's just me.
Yeah, I mean, it was a great. So
I thought Brienne was gonna die.
Okay,
sure. I thought maybe the Hound would die. You know, I really, what I'll say is I liked that Jon wasn't our like hero of the battle.
I thought he was up until the last moment. I was like, is he really not going to win this? Like, what's going on? And then like the dragon was there, and I was thinking to myself, Jon Snow, you know, he's a Targaryen and he's a Snow or
Stark.
Sorry, wow, blanked on that one. So he's a Targaryen and a Stark, and I was like, he's got the direwolf, and he
does he have a direwolf? Like he literally like totally left Ghost.
Well, so he's got the dragon connection, and then he's also got the winter connection. So I was like, oh, maybe he can ride the ice dragon. I thought that was gonna happen.
There's no way that was gonna happen. And then it didn't. I thought they did a really good job with the dragons fighting.
Oh, I love the dragon fighting scenes.
And there's a point where it's more of like a silhouette, and the dragons dive down, and It had like a flash moment back to some movie, and I went on like a 2-day search and couldn't find it.
Never Ending Story?
No, it's not Never Ending Story. I think it's called Flight of the Dragons, and it came out in I think early 90s, like 93 or something like that. And if you search for like famous dragon movies, it pops up a lot, and it's animated. And I remember there's just like something about the dragons like dying, and there's like this silhouette of the dragons like falling out of the sky, and the way they showed in Game of Thrones how the dragons were diving down, it caught me in a weird way, and I know that's something that would be odd to
like in a positive way or in like a not good way.
No, not in a good or bad way. It just kind of like I had like a flash memory back to my childhood.
Oh, got it.
You know, and I like dragons, and that was a really cool part of that whole fight.
Yeah, there was a shot where they pull out. They're really far away from the dragons in the sky, and it's sort of the clouds beneath them, and they're sort of like sitting there, flapping their wings, circling, and they're looking at each other, and then I think Dany dives or something like that. That was a really cool scene because the same kind of thing happened, but it was of some sort of fantasy dragon art that I saw a long time ago. I was like, oh, that's like what I grew up seeing on the internet. The dragons were, I think they capture. They just have done such a great job with the dragons.
They did a great job with the dragons,
yeah.
And I like. I've mentioned it on the show maybe, but the Inheritance Cycle, written by Christopher Paolini, and those books. Has everything to do with dragons, and it's a great series to read. But when they made the one movie, Aragon, it was so bad. I literally...
I remember when that came out and how
I was so excited,
you were.
And it was so bad, and I
saw it in theaters.
I saw it too.
Yeah.
And it was horrible.
I only saw it because you wanted me to see it.
I know. Well, yeah,
just
it is what it is.
But I didn't see Shazam,
but I was disappointed
too. I guess I'm safe.
Yeah, well, I don't know. You might like it. Anyways, okay. But like, where that was done so poorly, I appreciate Game of Thrones doing it so well.
Yep.
And in my head, I'm just thinking like, okay, just take this the way you did the dragons in this, just put it in something else, and like give me more of that.
Yeah.
Give me more dragons. Give me some more like guys flying on the back of dragons, doing magic, and make it awesome.
Yeah.
You know.
And then, so wait, no, we're on episode 4. Have you seen episode 4?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
We're on 5, dude.
I know. 5 is this weekend.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Second to last episode.
So episode 3 was Battle for Winterfell. Episode 5 or 4 was them confronting Cersei at the gate. Missandei or whatever her name is getting her head cut off.
Missandei,
yeah.
Something
and
like
then the dragon getting like smoked.
Oh yeah.
That was
that
nuts.
was like, in my head I was like, was that really necessary?
I mean, it cemented the fact that Cersei was not inactive while the Battle of Winterfell was happening. Like, she was planning, she was scheming, she was putting her army in place to catch them when whatever happened.
Right.
And like, they took out the biggest threat to Cersei's army. Like, unfortunately. I should have retreated behind King's Landing.
Right?
Just giving it up. Sorry, sorry, Winterfell.
Amelia Clark said that Episode 5 will be bigger than the Battle for Winterfell. And it kind of has to be, right?
I mean, 5... So I was talking about this with some coworkers. I was really curious to see how they were going to pace this season, because it's only 6 episodes. And before Episode 3, I was like, they could make the battle 2 episodes.
Totally.
They could make the battle 3 episodes. You didn't really know how it was going to play. So were they going to do the battle and then a setup and then some sort of climactic event, and then like the final episode is like the goodbye, the feel good, like the ooh, or is it going to end like Game of Thrones started and people are going to keep dying until the last episode? Yeah,
I think people are going to die to the last episode.
I mean,
okay, hold on. Did you like? Is the Battle for Winterfell your favorite battle of Game of Thrones? Because I'll tell you right now, I liked the Battle of the Bastards more than the Battle for Winterfell.
The Battle of the Bastards was more detailed and like on a more intimate level, right? Like there weren't dragons,
right?
It was just men fighting men.
It was more emotional for me. Like,
I mean, because that season was really heavy, right? Like there was
that was the one that Jon came back from the dead in the beginning, right?
I think so. And then like Sansa was having a bad time with whatever his face was, Ramsay. Yeah, and like and Theon and her connected, and like there was all kinds of really heavy stuff happening, and that was the culmination of that, which in a way is I think I don't know. I think they're just two different battles in my mind. They're hard to compare, but I think that one was the better like detail battle. But this one, they did a pretty good job of capturing the larger warfare, the dragons, and I appreciated the dragons being more.
Totally.
And this was the last time we're going to see 3 dragons on the screen, right?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, if I'm just when Jon in the Battle of the Bastards is climbing out of that. I don't know where all the people are surrounding him and he's like suffocating.
Yeah.
That's that very iconic image of him like crawling out, right? I remember watching that and sort of just being so in suspense, emotionally. And I didn't really get that in the Battle for Winterfell. So that sticks out to me.
I wonder if that's because this is the final season. We expect that people are going to die. And that was still very early on.
We've hardened ourselves.
Well, like, the expectations are different now, right? Like, in that episode, anybody dying would have been, a crazy detail.
You were ready for anybody to die.
But you really wanted the one person to die, and you got what you wanted. At this point, you don't really know.
So we got what we wanted. Do you think we're going to get what we want in the end? What do we want? Cersei and her head.
Root and stem.
Just destroyed.
Yep.
I want to see her head explode.
I want to see the dragon land on top of the spire that they're in and, like, just bust through the roof and grab her and then, like, throw her up and eat her.
Well, there's part of me that wants it to be, like, horrible and gruesome and she just, like, suffers. But the other one, I would like it if she just, like, got, like, just, like, fell and just...
I want them to completely dismantle the Lannisters. Like, I want Jaime to go away. I want Cersei to go away.
You want Tyrion to go away? You know what? I really like how Tyrion has become so loyal to Dany.
But has he?
Really? So I had that thought. I
think he's blinded by his family. Like, that's the mistake that they underestimated his sister. Like, how is he not advising Dany that his sister's going to come up behind him and that shouldn't be like a major secondary priority? Like, just how do they not have scouts out?
I think
how did they go to the front of the gates and have her friend get her head cut off?
Well, there wasn't anything else they could do about Sunday.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm just saying, there's a lot of things that he didn't make those mistakes as much before.
Yeah, I think he's missed a couple things for sure.
Yeah, and that's what their tension is right now.
Yeah, I mean that's what's supposed. Yeah, for sure, I agree. I'll be interested to see how what the Mountain does, because since was died and then was sort of like brought back, he's just been kind of like a zombie, like
well, he is,
and then
something else.
And then like kills one person and then whatever. Like we're gonna see a battle, and I'm curious to see how he does.
Well, and I think this is why the Hound is still alive, because their storyline is not done.
Yeah, the Hound's is not done for sure. So obviously at the end of the Battle of Winterfell, I like there's a shot where Jon's kind of coming through the corridors. First of all, they did a great job with like changing the pace of that battle.
Yeah.
With the whole Arya in the study room.
Mm-hmm.
And they kind of added this horror element.
Yeah.
And that was really great. I really liked that part of it. I liked the sort of embracing from Arya at, the whole line as she walks away from the witch saying, "Not today," right? And then we know how that pans out. She kills the Night King. But when Jon is coming through the corridor, and as he's coming through, there's sort of like this pan with the camera, and you see like Brienne, and she's being like just covered by guys, and then you see somebody else, Jaime, fighting off. There's this really great moment for me watching that, and I'm thinking to myself, like, our heroes are being heroes right now, and
they're earning their keep.
That was really good. It was really great. I really enjoyed that. I was appreciative that somebody didn't do something really fucking stupid. It really, besides the fact that they just ran their entire Dothraki into the army.
That was such an intense scene.
That was not intense. I was like, okay.
Oh my gosh, are you kidding me?
I mean, okay,
the whole people was eradicated in like. And
seconds.
And the extinguishing of the fire was symbolic.
Oh, for sure. I 100% agree with you. But the fact is, hold on. And I have a point to follow up with, but the fact is if I was coming up with that battle plan, I'm not just sending my Dothraki first thing into the front lines without any heavy artillery having just shot for an hour in one direction, because they
didn't have any.
They shoot the big catapult and trebuchet balls like 3 or 4 times, and then the Dothraki hit the line of the undead front line, and then they stop, and it's like, why aren't we just shelling the shit out of them?
Well, they didn't know how close they were. That was what they were getting sent out, was to go scout.
That was it? That was no.
That's what it seemed like to me. They knew they were there, but they didn't know where.
Why wasn't there a hail of fiery arrows?
Yeah.
I mean, the battle plan for me was a little shitty. But, however, that second point I wanted to make is it wouldn't have mattered. No matter the battle plan here, it would not have mattered. And I think that was sort of the point. It was that there wasn't going to be a stopping of the undead army.
The battle plan did work out.
Thanks to Arya.
No, well, I mean, it went exactly according to plan.
And
they wanted to lure the Night King into Bran, and that's exactly what happened. Yeah. They just happened to lose every single fucking one of their people.
Yeah, that's true.
But I think that was the inevitable
Bran,
thing.
And how do you feel about Bran? Because there's a lot out there, and I'm kind of on that side of things where I'm like, he was useless. But he was useless because he was supposed to be useless.
Well, we don't know what the Ravens were doing.
He was supposed to be useless, right? That was all part of the plan, was him to be useless. And I'm like that's a stupid.
Well, he's a cripple, and he's a knowledge person, and that he can go into other animals.
He can ward.
So we don't know that he wasn't
into other
doing
animals and people, right? And he can affect the past, present, and future. So
yeah,
how
that's
could he,
the end of the end of Game of Thrones for me. Like, what is happening with Bran? They have to address it. So
I guess so.
I mean, and I think this was an important moment because he was part of their plan, and Bran knew why the Night King was coming. So and he had seen it in the future. Like, he knew that this was going to happen.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know.
So what is he trying to make happen? I think he's the one that's pulling all the strings.
You think so?
Yeah.
I saw an interesting theory that said that he is the Lord of Light. And that the Night King was sort of the Lord of Darkness kind of deal. And they're even though they killed the Night King, that their battle will always wage on and will always be continuing, you know? And I thought that was kind of interesting. We'll see how it goes. The last episode would kind of piss me off. Sansa, I can't stand right now. She's like literally my least favorite character, and if she died, I really wouldn't care.
Yeah, her betrayal of Jon and telling Tyrion about the secret was, that really shows how much of an impression that Littlefinger and Cersei had on her, and I didn't think it was that deep. Like, I didn't think that she would have this much of an ego about Jon, as she has, and that feels really weird to me. But like, she did go through life-changing events. I just didn't think that this would be the result of that.
Yeah. Yeah, but I can't stand her. Every time she comes on screen now, I'm just like, ugh.
Yeah.
Somebody kill her.
I was kind of disappointed at Arya's her end role matched my expectation, but her path to get there was much less intimidating than I would have thought. Like, I thought that
thought she was going to be more badass?
I thought she was going to be more badass.
How
in
do you
the fight.
get that? I mean, if anything, I was that she exceeded my expectations. When she's on the wall with the spear and she's just crushing guys,
I wanted that to continue. That's my issue.
But then after that, she ended up in the study.
Well, yeah, she got there, but it was she got her head knocked off. She jumped off a roof. She then got reminded that, hey, you're supposed to get the fuck out of here and go do something else. Like, it wasn't even. Yeah, I just expected her to be more deadly and more roguelike. And
I think for me, they did Arya right.
It ended where I wanted it to.
In the end, she embraced the faceless. Her killing the Night King was the full embracing of the faceless. I don't think so. And that's how I think she managed to get by the undead.
I think her leaving Winterfell afterwards was her fully embracing it. Because she kind of started to waver. Like, she started re-embracing her family, and she started getting back into politics, and like, she kind of cast it off after she embraced it. I don't know. So I just didn't think I thought she was going to stick around, but her killing the Night King and then leaving was, I think, her fully embracing her role as like the ultimate assassin.
Well, it's an interesting thought.
I mean, I don't know if I want her to kill Cersei or if I want a dragon to kill Cersei.
I had this idea. What if she kills Jaime, takes Jaime's face, kills Cersei?
That would be pretty cool.
That'd be pretty dope, right?